now hit that subscribe button. Hit all. Do you see that? You hit subscribe, and then that little bell next to it, and then all videos. It's absolutely amazing. Subscribe, bell, all. Get it? Subscribe, bell, all. Subscribe, bell, all. Subscribe, bell, all. That's right, that's right. So if you, hey, thanks for your nice comment underneath the Court TV video. Thank you. Hello and welcome. This is
everybody.
Grant
Hello
Hughes
and
of
welcome.
Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube.
Yep, on
This
YouTube,
channel
yep,
evaluates all aspects of true crime.
True crime, yep.
As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre
Gosh, Grant, that
often
is very
discuss
nice.
elements of crime
Of
that
crime,
may
yeah.
be disturbing to some
some
viewers.
people, yeah, some
If
people, yeah.
necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussion. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once.
Just
Share
once.
the video
Yeah.
and subscribe if you like my content. Thank
If
you
like
very
my
much for watching.
content. Thank you very much for watching.
Come on, man. What's wrong with you? This guy may be like the dumbest person on the face of the earth. You know, that's just one step above stupid.
God, I love that clown thing. It's so perfect. It's such a great thing to play when somebody is like just rambling on about just ludicrous stuff, you know? And while they're talking, you just play that music in the background. You don't really even need to hear anything that they're saying, you know? You know? So there you go. Wow, is that Chloe's face? What am I looking at right there? Oh wait, oh God, that creeped me out. I thought her you could see her left eye was the one on top. And like her nose was really wide, her face was really wide, but her eye is down there. Her left eye is the one on the ground, or near the, it's hidden kind of. Man, that was creepy. I was like, man, what happened to her face? It's weird. Her eye went sideways. All right. Anyways, here we go. We're going to read through the... hold on, what the hell is it? The upper left. Yeah. There we go, right there. All right, let's go through this. Well, thanks. Yeah, I went and watched it. I didn't do too bad, especially that last segment. I thought I did pretty good on the one where he was in, when we were talking about him working at Disneyland, too, right? No, I pretty much said, no, that's him. You know, he probably maybe worked as a contractor, but he definitely worked there. I mean, all of the guests that or not guests, but everybody I interviewed said he worked there. All right. Anyways, this show right now is on the motion to compel and a request for sanctions. So they're actually requesting sanctions, and then there's this long document here. Like, I think there's interesting stuff in it. I remember reading it earlier, and I don't know how I thought I was thinking my brain just didn't remember it or something. So the show ended, and I was like, I didn't have anything else to do, and it's also dead as a doornail, and it's just, you know, somebody in the comments underneath the Court TV video said, and Grant Hughes is one of the few channels that actually donates a large portion of his income to various charities out there. And I was thinking, yeah, the only way that happens is if the freaks are supporting the channel. All right, so anyways, let's go up here to motion to compel and request for sanctions. I hate this comes now crap, you know. It's like, that's from like what, like ancient England or something. Who cares? Comes now the accused. You know, you almost feel like there's some guy with a trumpet and some kind of flag off to the side. Well, thanks, Julie. Comes now the accused Richard Allen. Maybe do this. Let's see.
Come now, the accused Richard Allen.
By and through counsel Andrew Baldwin and Bradley Rosie, and moves this court to compel the state of Indiana to provide certain discovery that the defense believes exists, but that the state of Indiana has not provided to the defense. Additionally, the defense seeks a sanction against the state of Indiana for a variety of discovery violations. I need some liquid, I think. Thank you, Mark Radzalowski. Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, I don't know. You know what? You know when you're doing something yourself, you don't know how you come across because it's you. So when I'm on these shows, what is it like? I mean, do I seem like I belong there, like I fit in with the other guests? I know I kind of look around sort of weirdly because the camera's up here and I'm looking at a screen with the people on it. But that's kind of what I want to know is like, how does it turn out where, you know, what is the perception? Like if you were just watching it like it was a show, right? And you didn't know who I was or anything. Oh, I got it right? Okay, cool. I guess nobody's answering that question. All right, anyways, let's... that good, huh? Whew. Oh, there's... Okay, Sophie came in, was it? Yeah, I mean, I do feel more comfortable now on there. It's just that I'm always kind of going like this, like, you know, looking at something, you know. And they're all staring at the camera like this. Hey, yeah, so what I was thinking was that the one time... I just can't do that. Man, I don't know how they're staring at the camera. Like, you actually have people that make videos on true crime where they're staring at the camera. Well, you know what I think? I think eventually the trial could... wow. Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm looking at stuff on my screen. Well, thanks, Cindy. Yeah, I mean, it's weird. I think YouTubers who cover true crime the correct way, when they're on these shows, because they're covering the case every single day as it's going, you know, or multiple times, sometimes not every day, but I think they end up knowing it better than, like, if you're just calling in a guest to have a thought on something. You know, like, they don't actually spend that same amount of time. They got a whole bunch of stuff that they're working on the side. The interview where she said she saw Madeline in the AM could, yeah, that segment, the last part. Yeah, I thought that was pretty good. I went and watched it. I'm at 123 now? When did that happen? I don't know. I don't think I'm quite at 123. Am I? Or hold on, let me see. Well, I might be at 123, but I'm almost at 124. Is that the... Here, I'll tell you in a second. Don't worry, we'll read through this. Now, I'm at 123,807, so we're almost at 124. So that's pretty cool. Maybe in the morning we'll wake up at 124. Yeah, I'm just wondering how it appears if somebody didn't know who I was and watched that. You know, like you guys know me, so you see my shows and everything, so it's like watching a friend up on the screen. It's kind of the same. Well, thanks, Kathleen. And by the way, thank you up there to Cheryl for the super chat. All right. Yeah, it's 120. I'm at 123,806. All right, so anyways, the sanctions request is simply that, and delay... Okay. Comes now the accused Richard Allen by and through counsel Andrew Baldwin and Bradley Rosie, and moves this court to compel the state of Indiana to provide certain discovery that the defense believes exists that the state of Indiana has not provided to the defense. You know what they're doing right now, you guys? They're delaying the trial again. You can just tell right there. Additionally, the defense seeks a sanction against the state of Indiana for a variety of discovery violations detailed herein. The sanction requested is simply that any delay in the trial created by the state's violation of rules of discovery be assessed against the state of Indiana. In support of said motion, that the accused states the following. So here's what they're saying. Now these are all the things that they're going to accuse the state of doing. And now these are things like the channels out there that are pro Richard Allen, you know, like the wackos that came from the Summer Wells case, and they're just covering this one because they went, ooh, 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 ooh. They have no clue about the case. They couldn't have a conversation with you about it. They just know about the court filings and the new documents, etc. And so this is the stuff they'll just love, and they'll turn it into the greatest thing that they've ever heard in their life. Number one, the defense has attempted to cooperate with the state of Indiana in order to comply with the spirit of Local Rule 08 CR 118, which is attached and marked as Defense Exhibit A for the sole purpose of assisting the court and supplementing this motion to compel. Number two, pursuant to Local Rule, the state of Indiana shall disclose and furnish all relevant items and information under the rule to the defendant within 30 days from the date of the appearance, subject to constitutional limitations and other limitations, and the defense shall provide the same within 30 days of the state providing its evidence. Number three, pursuant to said local rule, the party seeking disclosure of evidence shall include in the party's motion or request a statement showing that the attorney making the motion or request has made a reasonable effort to reach agreement with opposing counsel concerning matters set forth in the motion or request, including date, time, place, and manner of this effort to reach an agreement. Number four, to this day, the state of Indiana continues to provide late discovery of items and information that it was required to provide no later than December 14, 2022, pursuant to local rule. For example, on February 20th, 2024, the defense sent a certified letter to the prosecutor's office seeking many pieces of evidence. Okay, so they sent it to the prosecutor's office seeking many pieces of evidence, over 20, that the defense believes exists, but it appears that the state of Indiana has failed to turn over to the defense. In that certified letter, the defense requested a determination if said evidence exists, and if so, to determine if that evidence has been turned over to the defense, as the defense was unable to locate any of the aforementioned evidence in the vast amount of discovery provided by the state of Indiana. In other words, the defense was seeking clarity as to whether the prosecution has turned over certain evidence or whether said evidence even exists. Number seven, the state of Indiana did not respond to the letter, but rather sent one e-discovery strand, which contained a small portion of that evidence requested, including certain videotaped interviews that have never been turned over involving people integral to the timeline. The state of Indiana turned over these pieces of evidence. but here's the thing, everybody. When you're reading this stuff, you got to read everything the defense says with a grain of salt, because they put so much like bullcrap information out here. We don't know what this means. Like whatever this is right here, we don't even know what they're talking about, really. Sort of. Some of the stuff they say what they're talking about, but it could just be total fabricated stuff. Like, yeah, we got wind that there might be something, and we requested it, and we didn't get to hear whether or not it exists or not. Elijah's mom. I don't know what you're talking about. The other another case, or that other one that we went over a while back. Elijah's mom's timeline. You're talking about VU? Number 8, the state of Indiana turned over these pieces of evidence more than 14 months late, pursuant to the local rule, without explanation. Number 9, pursuant to the local rule, the defense is not required to make specific requests for any evidence, as the state of Indiana is required to turn over all relevant items. Yet, without making the specific requests, it appears that the defense would never have received these most recent pieces of evidence, i.e. the videotaped interviews of certain witnesses. The frustration from the defense is that this is not the first time that the defense has had to make specific requests for specific evidence that the state had failed to turn over to the defense. Because law enforcement and the prosecution are in total control of what evidence is ultimately turned over to the defense has no choice but to hope that the state of Indiana turns over all relevant evidence, especially exculpatory evidence. What evidence is that? The defense simply does not have the luxury of knowing that what relevant exculpatory evidence the state possesses. Well, they probably have none, and has turned over versus what relevant exculpatory evidence. See, what they do is they claim something happens and then extrapolate what it could mean. You know, like, we didn't get this document, therefore what other documents didn't they give us? I mean, we have no way of knowing if it was, just filled with exculpatory information that we just never got. That's how they talk. It's crazy. Number 13, the history of the prosecutor failing to turn over all relevant evidence to the defense has caused great concern to the defense. 14, what a stupid bullet point that is. 14, over the course of this case, many of the items that the state of Indiana has failed to provide to the defense in a timely manner are what the defense would label as major pieces of evidence, even exculpatory evidence. 15, many of the items that the state of Indiana failed to provide to the defense in a timely manner were only provided after the defense had specifically requested the items that the defense came to learn existed, but the state of Indiana had failed to turn over. For example, one of the more important pieces of evidence in this case is the data retrieved from the phone found at the scene where the victims were found, as this piece of evidence contains data concerning the down the hill video and other important information. Let's see. The data retrieved from the phone. Okay. This phone and the data contained on the phone has been available since 2017, yet the defense did not receive the data from that phone by the deadline of December 14, 2022, as designated by local rule. I wonder when they got it. The defense, knowing that this evidence simply had to exist, finally sent an email to the prosecutor on June 17, 2023, requesting the data from several phones, including the phone in question that belonged to Liberty German. The state of Indiana did not provide the phone data from Liberty German's phone until September 8, 2023, nearly 9 months after the state of Indiana should have turned over that evidence, and nearly 3 months after the defense specifically requested that evidence, even though the defense is not required to make a specific request for relevant evidence. Yep, I'm on again. But you guys, let's see if we can try to make up some of the ground that we missed on the last show. Okay, so I know we don't have as many people watching, but you guys are probably the normal people to watch the show. So if we can somehow try to do something regarding the goals that we have on the show every night, that'd be great. Because currently on this one we're at $2.96. The last show was a quarter of a normal night in an hour and a half, and this is going to take way over an hour to get through this whole thing because it's long. All right, and I do the shows regardless, but it's it's like that's how we keep everything going and do all the stuff that we do every single month on this show. And this month, because of my extra hard work doing all of the videos that I've been putting out, has a much better ad revenue month. So we should be able to do something where, like last month, we did like 3.5. You know, I'm hoping to be able to do like 6,000 or 7,000 total dollars this month. Hopefully, you know, that'd be amazing if that was like a third of the gross revenue, you know, because I have to pay taxes too. So it's usually about half of what I bring in. So that's what I'm trying to keep moving. I know it's a burden on people, but I don't want, that's the thing too. I don't want it to be where if you send something in, man, you can't go do something. All right. I'm appealing when I say that to the people that can, because this could be one of our cool months where we make up for the first 2 months not being our greatest. So like if somehow if we can get to like 7, that would be awesome, because then it would turn the 2 first months into 5 something, and then 5. So then we'd be at we'd be getting into the 60K for the year. I know, that's exactly right, Zozo. See, what they're just doing is they're just trying to delay. Hey, thanks, Cindy J. and Wise Child. I didn't realize that this was, I didn't even realize that that I forgot to do this one. This is the one I was really had, and then I downloaded those other, I was sent by, well, Fig Sol sent me these other documents right here. But I missed the one that I already had, unfortunately, which is this one. This is more important than the other ones, just like someone you set up above. Yep, we're back on. That's right. Hey, thanks, Sophie H. Man, she wrote such a nice comment underneath the court TV video. You know, there was I saw like, I don't know, 4 or 5 comments under there. It's pretty cool. All right, so what are we on now? We're 19. I mean, it's sort of interesting. I mean, yeah, I mean that's sort of data that you would have from a long time ago, but they've had it since September. Right? I mean, the video and other images that were taken on the phone are really what are the important elements. I mean, I guess it might show locational data, and it'll show the exact route. I mean, wouldn't that be amazing if their exact route, like down the hill, across, like if the phone was somehow still pinging a little bit down there? I don't think they can, though, because there's only one tower, and you can't really, there's no triangulation. And there's no Wi-Fi for that. Anyways, so number 20, most of other items requested in that June 17, 2023 email to the prosecution still to this day have not been turned over to the defense. This includes data, reports, and other information related to the images of the bridge purportedly taken on Liberty German's phone at 2:05. I thought that was 2:07. Okay, 2:05. Oh, so that's about what I was thinking. I always thought that other image was like 2:03. So that means now we know, that's kind of interesting. We know that the full shot of the bridge was at 2:05, as well as an image of Abigail Williams walking on the bridge reportedly taken at 2:07. So now we know that the 2:05 shot is, so now that's kind of cool to actually have that piece of information. So we're gonna zoom in here, get onto the bridge. And what other channel would you have somebody that would even know what they were doing with that right there? None. And so that's going to be that the first photograph of the full length of the bridge was taken right here. Let me, I have to click on that, hit properties, and it kind of gets you into the right spot over here. Click on that. So now we know that image 2:05 p.m. full shot of bridge. Right, and then this one, 207, photo of Abby. Right, and that kind of makes sense, right? So that means after that photo was taken, they just walked diligently down and then turn around. I mean, 2 minutes from here to there is slow. It only takes 4 minutes if you're somebody committed, maybe 3 minutes to walk from this end of the bridge to this end of the bridge. It's 800 feet, 860, like 5 feet. And that's cool. That's awesome. So now we actually got a new piece of information after all this time. We actually have the time at 2:05. Well, we already know the video original timestamp. It was 2:13. It was mentioned in the Ron Logan document. Wow, that's awesome. I like having, even though it's something really minor like that, it's just cool having that piece of information. And just realize this, what's interesting about that, too, is knowing what we know. Betsy Blair was right here at 153. Right in this spot here, maybe 154. Okay? And then she walked this way, right? And then halfway there, she passed AbbyandLibby at like 157. So from there, it would take AbbyandLibby 3 minutes or so to get to here, which would put him on the bridge at 2 o'clock. And that's absolutely consistent then with a photograph at 2:05 right there, 2:07 here. And Richard Allen was standing on platform 1 when Betsy Blair turned around and walked this direction. Isn't that awesome? Can I get a boom? Yeah, like that. All right, the week of August 5th, 2023, the defense took several depositions. At the conclusion of that week, it became clear to the prosecution that the defense was pursuing information concerning certain Odinists that had been investigated by 3 law enforcement officers, Todd Click, Greg Ferenczi, and Kevin Murphy. I hope they don't bring up the death of one of them. On or about September 8, 2023, nearly a month after said depositions, the prosecutor provided a daunting amount of newly discovered evidence, including a letter from Todd Click's lawyer discussing Click's concern, essentially that the prosecution might be aware of law enforcement's investigation into Brad Holder, Patrick Westfall, Elvis Fields, and others Click believed were likely involved in the murders. This letter and its contents were highly exculpatory. Well, that was because they investigated them early on and determined that they weren't related, so they're not highly exculpatory. Do you understand that? You might want to twist it around. Isn't it interesting? Is right after that, they go, oh my God, we got something. And then they put out the Odin document. Because look at the date on this. It's September 8th, that letter. That Odin document came out. Right around this time is when, God, that's so crazy. Because right around this date is when, a day before this actually, is when I heard that the defense was going to be putting out a document like that with Odin information in it. And then September 8th, this letter shows up. And then 2 weeks after that, the Odin document got accidentally released out there with all kinds of crime scene information, etc. On or about September 8, 2023, nearly a month after that said deposition, the prosecutor provided daunting amount. Okay, yeah, we already did that. Upon receiving this missing evidence, the defense was surprised, shocked, to learn that on May 1st, 2023, the prosecutor's office signed for the Todd Click letter and the exculpatory evidence and information contained in that letter, yet failed to alert the defense as to the existence of this exculpatory discovery until after the prosecutor knew for certain that the defense would definitely be calling Todd Click in for future depositions, at which point in time, I mean, I know, well, here's why they would do that, right? Because it wasn't exculpatory. It was like stuff that they looked into early on and determined not related to the case. And then they were like, holy crap, you're actually going to interview Todd Click related to that Odinism shit? Well, hell, we got to then turn over this information to you guys. Why would you be turning over stuff like that? It's not related to the, you know, it's Richard Allen's investigation that is connected to what they would be giving you, not the original stuff that you're just looking around, looking at various people. Man, these guys it's ridiculous. MacLeod did not turn over the letter, and it's exculpatory. Man, can you say exculpatory twice fast? No way, man. Exculpatory. Well, exculpatory. Well, you can't do it 3 times. I know that. Exculpatory. You can say it slow. You can go exculpatory. But say it really fast. Okay, and then type in what you actually said. All right? It's a little bit like saying hyoid bone 3 times fast. It's absolutely impossible. You end up saying boing at one point. Okay, let's be honest here. Come on, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm trying to sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger on Welcome Back, Carter. I don't think there's been a character on television that I loathe more than Arnold Schwarzenegger, or whatever the hell his name was. Okay? Guy's an with that stupid ass laugh he had. God, give me a break. No, you can't, Cindy. You can't do it fast. All right, anyways, here we go. Let's see. The prosecutor's office offered no explanation whatsoever as to why he held on to the exculpatory evidence for several months and only provided it to the defense once it became obvious that the defense would learn of the existence of that exculpatory evidence. Well, it's not exculpatory, though. I mean, what makes something that was investigated and meant nothing exculpatory? Yeah, Horseshack. That's right. God, Jesus. Why did they have that guy on that show? Well, actually, the whole show was idiotic when you think about it. I mean, Vinnie Barbarino, for God's sake. Hey, thanks, Michelle H. That's where John Travolta, got his start, basically. And he wasn't too far off from that when he did Saturday Night Fever, okay? But then all of a sudden he got some cool roles after that. But. All right, here we go. So number 25. Certainly the defense would have been much further ahead in their defense of Richard Allen had the prosecutor turned over the click information in a timely manner. I think they just thought, what does this have to do with anything? And then when the defense asked for it, they're like, holy crap, you guys actually want this stuff? Certainly the defense would have been even more prepared for the August depositions had the prosecutor turned over that exculpatory evidence. I like how they should put quotes around exculpatory. Between September 8th, 2023 and October 6th, hey, thank you, Michelle H. Between September 8th, 2023 and October 6th, 2023, approximately 90 days before the January 2024 trial date that had been set, the state of Indiana dumped 14 hard drives, 5 flash drives, 1 disk, and certain e-discovery on the defense, including several videotaped interviews of third-party suspects that the defense had focused on when deposing law enforcement in early August of 2023. The state of Indiana provided no explanation whatsoever why they had not turned over to the defense this massive amount of evidence, exculpatory or not. 9 months later than required under the local rule, and a month after the prosecution learned that the defense was pursuing a defense that certain third parties were involved in the murders. Yeah, a month after, sure. Okay, that's almost kind of reasonable. But nobody knew. You guys came up with the theory way late because of people like Julie Melvin and wackos out there, other wackos, that told the defense, hey, have you looked into these, the Odinism people? I'm surprised they didn't bring up, have you looked into Oompa Loompas? I mean, those guys are scary. Did you see those guys? They're really little. Has the same credible value. It's insane. It was apparent that had the defense not alerted the state of Indiana as to their strategy to pursue the Odinist angle. Hey, look at it. I'm saying exactly what. Here it is. You don't need to know who that is, Beach Girl. She's a really horrendous human being, in my opinion. She is garbage. She used to tell people, like, she'd be communicating and she'd write in these private groups. I'm going to quote her. She wrote in a text message, I have Grace sucking off one of my teats right now. And I'm just like, what? What are you talking about? Somebody shared the screenshot because she was in that Facebook conversation with her. She is an absolute joke of a person, all right? She actually typed that in. And she's just all about games and playing things. Hey, look at that. Cindy J. Look at Cindy J is saying wave or nah. Come on, if Cindy J is doing a wave, you can't deny that one. Yeah, she is creepy as hell, man. She is, early on, she, seemed sort of somewhat normalish. She was watching my videos. She mentioned me when she walked down to the crime scene. Go, hey, that's that bent tree like Gray said, or the guy said in his video. And then she went out and did a full walk across the bridge for me, But then after that, she was the one that told people that the person on the bridge had forceps in their jacket. Not a gun, mind you, but forceps. And they were going to perform an illegal abortion on the other side of the bridge on Abby, she said. Or one of the girls. I don't even know which one. I mean, it's just disgusting stuff. This is the kind of brain we're working with. And this guy used to put out these photographs. Those ink blot things. And come on, don't leave Cindy hanging up here, guys. Do not leave Cindy hanging. You know those ink blot things where you put some ink and then you fold a piece of paper and you open it up? This one guy used to do, he'd do stuff like that and show her. And she'd go, oh my God, look at this one guy. He's so good. He told me this is what it means. Unbelievable. No, I'm not making that up. It's true. It's an actual true thing. They still say that out there, Wayek, whatever the hell your name is. Okay, I don't make stuff up on my channel. Now, you go to places and you make up stuff, I'm sure, because that's the kind of whack job you are. But I literally tell you real things that actually happen. I have never made up anything ever on my show. All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Mecca23 and Jessica Schubach on Cindy's Wave. Oh, look at that. Well, yeah, the problem is I came back because I missed this, the most important document in the entire PDF file list, and I realized that's the one that was going to take up my time. I even said it in the chat. I said, oh, hell, I might have to come back on at the end when I was typing. Yeah. So there you go. What gives? Come on, Karen. You can watch it later. What do you mean, what's this one say? We just went over a ton of stuff. It does mention that the full shot of the bridge is at 2:05. That was a new piece of information that we haven't had before. So that was cool. So certainly the defense would have been much further ahead in their defense of Richard Allen had the prosecutor turned over the click information in a timely manner. Okay, we already went over this stuff. The state of Indiana provided no explanation whatsoever why they had not turned over the defense this massive amount of evidence 9 months later than required. A defense that certain third parties were involved in the murder. Okay, we already went over that one too. Hey, thanks, Peter. Says right here, the state of Indiana provided no explanation whatsoever why they had not turned over to the defense this massive amount of evidence, exculpatory or not, 9 months later than required under local rule, and a month after the prosecution learned that the defense was pursuing a defense that certain third parties were involved in the murders, much of the late discovered missing evidence pertained to the focus of law enforcement on certain suspects involved in Odinism. It was apparent that had the defense not alerted the state of Indiana as to the strategy to pursue the Odinist angle, but I agree with this. I don't think it's bad, though. The state didn't turn over the Odinist stuff because they had already investigated it early on and ruled it out. It had nothing to do with the investigation into Richard Allen. It has nothing to do with anything. Okay? They were just like, oh, wow, you guys actually give a shit about this? Okay, here we go. It was apparent that had the defense not alerted the state of Indiana as to the strategy to pursue the Odinist angle in defending their client, and therefore the likelihood that the defense would talk to Todd Click, who would then reveal the existence of the letter, it is highly likely that the prosecutor would never have turned over the exculpatory evidence to the defense. The Odin information is not exculpatory. It has nothing to do with anything. It's hilarious. Hey, thank you, Kim Christian. Look at that, Cindy J's wave, man. The very last discovered item that the defense received before the prosecutor requested that the defense be kicked off the case was geofencing evidence that the defense believes was received on October 6, 2023. And I remember the geofencing one. I remember Robert Ives talking about how they did that. The geofencing evidence was received nearly 10 months after the state was required to turn it over, and contained what appeared to be highly exculpatory evidence concerning a variety of important matters, including the phone numbers of multiple people who appear to have either been at the crime scene or within 60 yards to 100 yards of the crime scene during the very time when the victims were, you mean driving on State Road 300? Yeah. During the very times when the victims were purportedly being murdered, according to the state timeline provided in the probable cause affidavit. Let's see. Who appear to have been, let's look at something here. So if you look at the right there, how many yards is it from the bridge? So if somebody was walking on this bridge, and we go to yards, how many yards is that? So that is 166 yards, 175, and obviously it's much farther from here to there. Oh, I guess that'll be interesting information right there, right? I mean, if it's technically and easily, if there's no way that it's, the data is just not really accurate because you have one cell tower. I don't know how you can tell something's 60 yards or 100 yards or any of that stuff. So it says the phone numbers of multiple people who appear to have been at the crime scene or within 60 yards to 100 yards of the crime scene during the very times when the victims were purportedly being murdered, according to the state timeline provided in the probable cause affidavit. In this late discovery, the defense found a map prepared by someone, presumably law enforcement, that appears to track the movement of these people in and around the crime scene the afternoon of December 13th, 2007. Well, but here's the thing. They have the phone numbers of these people, and they tracked them around. You don't think they went and talked to these people? I mean, if they actually have this information and the phone numbers, they've went and talked to these people between 2007, including between 3:02 p.m. and 3:27. All right, so that could be somebody like the people that were on the bridge during that exact time right there. They were told to go down the hill at 2:14, basically 2:13. They were told to go down the hill. And so that means they made it to the crime scene no later than 2:30. And then a woman named Cheyenne and her friends were on the bridge after that. This is pretty interesting, though, because it's starting to give us a little bit more information here. Since the return to Richard Allen's defense, Allen's attorneys have specifically requested via email February 26, 2024, that the state of Indiana provide all narrative reports related to the geofencing data as well as all documents related to the geofencing data. But the state of Indiana so far has claimed that no such documents exist. Again, the defense is at the mercy of the prosecutor's claims of the existence. Right, but how come they turned over stuff other times when you ask for it? I mean, I would think if they had it, they would give it to you, right? Yet the prosecution's claim so much geofencing reports exist. However, the defense has heard this type of answer from the prosecution in the past, only to learn that the prosecution's claims that the documents did not exist weren't true. Within the last 2 weeks, the defense deposed the state's phone dump expert, who presumably will testify concerning the data found on Liberty German's phone. All right, that's more information. So we're sort of hearing about stuff, this is pretty good. Within the last 2 weeks, the defense deposed the state's phone dump expert, who presumably will testify concerning the data found on Liberty German's phone. Before that deposition, the defense had emailed the prosecution on February 26, 2024, seeking reports related to the phone dump of that particular phone in order to prepare for said deposition. Man, don't you just see that they're just trying to delay the hell out of this trial again? They couldn't believe it when, oh my God, we really are going to have a speedy trial here. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to make it seem like it's going to extend out further now at the fault of the state for not giving us our required documents in enough time. These guys are a joke, okay? But they're probably doing exactly what any attorney a defense attorney would be doing. Or I don't know if anyone would be doing it. I don't know. I don't think they would have requested a speedy trial. These guys just play games. Then at the deposition, minutes before the deposition began, the prosecutor... Let me read it up here. Before the deposition, the defense had emailed the prosecution on February 26, seeking reports related to the phone dump of that particular phone in order to prepare for the deposition. The prosecution responded to the defense claiming that there were no reports related to the phone dump from the expert. Then, at the deposition, minutes before the deposition began, the prosecutor handed over 2 to 3 pages of notes that the state's phone dump expert had made, providing the defense zero time to review as part of its preparation for the deposition and providing no opportunity for the defense to meet with its own technology expert in order to learn what questions would be wise to ask the state's expert at said deposition. The prosecutor handed over these notes without explanation and with no apparent reasons as to why the prosecutor had previously told the defense that no such documents exist when in fact they did. The prosecutor's denial of the existence of certain documents regarding the phone dump before the deposition, followed by the explained production of certain documents within minutes of the deposition, sadly was not surprising, but highlights once again the less than forthright style in which the prosecution has been turning over evidence to the defense dating back to the beginning of the case. I wonder if the prosecution is going to reply to this document here. Furthermore, because of the lack of candor concerning the existence of non-existence of certain evidence, the defense cannot be sure whether certain documentation exists concerning geofencing analysis, even though the prosecution is claiming that so much documentation exists. Since rejoining the case, the defense has sought out the names of the geofencing expert who analyzed the geofencing evidence for purposes of preparing for depositions to determine if the state's expert has an explanation as to why the geofencing evidence displays what appears to be extremely exculpatory evidence of people walking in and around the crime scene during times when law enforcement is claiming that the murders were taking place. Wouldn't it be funny if one of those phones was Richard Allen's that was walking around the crime scene and they're like, hey, we want to see it. At first, the prosecutor refused to provide the names of his experts, but then told the defense he would ask his investigator. Again, specifically, someone prepared a map which tracked the February 13, 2017 afternoon movements of multiple phones in and around the place where the victims were ultimately found the following day. Particularly, some of these movements appeared to have occurred between 3:02 p.m. and 3:27 p.m. So that means these are the only movements. Okay, so these right here are the only movements. All right, because that's why he's saying particularly. Right, these are the only ones that would matter. So they're at 3:02 and 3:27. That's right when Cheyenne and her friends were on the phone, and they were using their phones and they were taking pictures with their phones on that bridge. I guarantee you that's who these people are. And 3:27 p.m. at the scene where and as a matter of fact, I think we even timed it where it was 3:15, if I remember correctly, on the bridge where Cheyenne takes that picture where it has the shadow of the pillar that holds up the bridge. Ultimately found on February 14, 2017, or within 60 to 100 yards from the site, and none of their phones or people associated with the phones have any affiliations with Richard Allen. Following the request for the identity of the geofencing experts, now I should see if I can, let me see if I can pull that up. So I like this cool document because it's sort of making me, think of old stuff. I'm just going to look for it on here. Yeah. Oh yeah, okay. Sort by date. Which one's the most recent? .3D PCA 7, radio PCA. Okay, that's what I'm working on now. What's the one right before that? Okay, right here. Let's see what it does. Let's see what happens. And by the way, here's the one I'm working on. Remember, those are the three girls down there walking, probably small. And right now, Richard Allen's car drives by really fast. You can see it right there. Zips by. And then there goes Richard Allen's car. He goes over here and parks at the abandoned CPS building. Pulls in, backs in, crushes the building. That's how I had to do it. And then moments later, he gets out of the car. And he's walking on the path right here. There's Richard Allen, just like that. He goes on this path on the side. And then right here, those three girls who were just at a bench are moving like this. Going this way. And I'll speed it up a little bit. And look, they pass each other right there. Those three girls hang out. They're not really doing anything. Then Richard Allen, though, he heads to the bridge over here. So he gets there right now. But then if we go back in time, those girls, they went over the old State Road 25 right here as Betsy Blair goes underneath. I don't have to put a bridge on there. So it goes underneath it, and she's going to go around, and then she comes around, and Richard Allen is still walking. He just makes it to platform 1, and here comes Betsy Blair, and she's about ready to park. Right here, pulls in, parks, And then she's going to get out of her car. She gets there, you know, I just have her getting out of the car within a minute. And gets out, and then she's going to walk to the bridge. But look at that. There is Kelsey driving down the road. This is exactly how it went. Kelsey pulls in, and she lets Abby and Libby out right here. But Abby and Libby didn't, you know, they're not hustling anywhere. They're just kind of out there taking pictures. But Betsy Blair's on a pretty brisk walk heading to the bridge here, and Abby and Libby are just chilling out. You know, who knows if they stopped here for a little bit, maybe at this bench, took some photos. I mean, we don't really know. But I just have them walking at a slower pace. So here comes Betsy Blair. I'll speed it up a little bit. Betsy Blair then goes to the right at the start of the bridge here. And when Betsy Blair gets to the start of the bridge, Richard Allen, she sees him standing on platform 1. And then Betsy Blair just immediately turns around and starts walking this way. And when she's walking back, right here, she passes Abby and Libby right here. And then Abby and Libby continue on. And I think, if you can see this, when they get to this area, Richard Allen probably passes them. And the girls go on the bridge. This is going to be 205. So right, there was another picture right there. So right there there's a photograph taken. And then right here is the one of at 207. And then look at Richard Allen. Then he starts following when the girls are almost halfway across, maybe a little bit more. And now he's really making up ground on them right here. And then right here he forces them down the hill, takes them over to the crime scene, right? I mean, this works pretty good, don't you think, this animation? What do you think of that? I mean, I think it's really, like, simple to see this way. It shows you how absolutely lonely. By the way, if you look at it from out like this, can you see these? I know it's kind of small, but I'll move it over like that. So from way out here, look at how this works. Okay, here's Richard Allen walking. He's just past the 3 girls over here. Watch. So he's walking. He passes the 3 girls. He continues the walk. Now we'll just forget that part and just look at this, just like that, right? And there's Richard Allen. He goes down. Maybe make it a little closer. He goes to the bridge there. And then up there you see Betsy Blair get out. And look at, she walks right towards Richard Allen. He's standing there. She turns around. Now Abby and Libby, the next person they're going to see is Richard Allen right there. And then they go across, and he waits back here and watches and then follows. Now look at, Betsy Blair is right there. And check it out. Right when she gets to her car here, look at this. That is exactly the time that the video was taken at 2:13. Right? Then Betsy Blair drives by the Hoosier Harvest Store at 2:14. And look at, that's right when he's already caught up with them, pulled out the gun, and said down the hill. Right? Then boom, they're all alone in this park. There isn't a soul out here after Betsy Blair takes off. So from up here, look at that. Betsy Blair gets in her car, drives away. And down here is Richard Allen with Abby and Libby, and that is it. All right, if that wasn't super chat worthy, you guys, I don't know what is. I mean, it gets to a point where you're just... All right, let's see. So I did open up another file here. Let's see what that one... All right, let's see. Is it going to open up? This is one we did a long time ago. So this was even using the 2012, and this has a sunlight system in it. So let's open up the, I'll click on the sunlight system, go over to here, and then under, where the hell is that on the side? Setup. Okay, this is set up for, I think this is like a really old one here. Not sure. I have it, that's one. This one's at 315 on 213. Yeah, so this is it right here. So let's take a look at what side of the bridge are we on here. So it's right there. This one doesn't have that little chunk in there though that I need. Is it this one? Yeah, I mean it's at the right time. But the other one I had a cylinder underneath here where you could, get the exact angle of the sun of the pillar holding up the bridge there. So we'll have to try to find that a different way. Yeah, okay, forget it. Was hoping that would be able to work, but it doesn't look like it's gonna. I'll have to show it on a different show or something. Find the right file. Oh, I think I might send it to them after I get finished with it, because I think it's what they need, stuff like that. All right, man, this is so long. This is crazy. Following the request for the identity of the geofencing expert, the prosecution claimed that he had no idea who analyzed. Okay, where are we at here? Additionally, the defense has reviewed all discovery provided by the state of Indiana and has not yet found a single interview of any of the people whose phones, according to the geofencing data, were found the afternoon of February 13, 2024, moving in or around the location where the bodies were ultimately found the following day at times when the murders would have taken place. Nowhere in discovery has the defense found any documentation negating the defense's analysis that the geofencing evidence shows multiple people were found in the area. The defense did locate very limited background information concerning one of the owners of the phones, but did not locate any narrative reports, interviews, or notes concerning the owner of the phone. It would be shocking if the owner of the phones were not interviewed when their movements were tracked and then replicated on a map depicting their movements around the crime scene based upon geofencing coordinates. Yet the defense has not located any interviews of the owners of those phones. I mean, that would be a little weird, wouldn't it? Well, thanks, Kathleen Canick. At least one person thought so. Again, someone in law enforcement summarized these movements by replicating them on a map, yet no narrative report can be found to explain why law enforcement reduced the movements to a map of the multiple people using multiple phones at or near the crime scene at the time the murders were purportedly committed. While it is, I mean, they keep repeating the same thing. This is starting to remind me of one single solitary man acting alone with dexterity. I mean, how many times do you have to mention the same freaking thing? While it's possible that the geofencing is not what appears to be, or perhaps was later debunked in some document that has not been turned over to the defense has found no documentation that dispels that the geofencing appears to be highly exculpatory in nature. The defense, everything's exculpatory to these guys. The defense is attempting to verify that the geofencing evidence appears to show, and based upon the map, wow, haven't we heard this 5 times already? That tracks the movements of multiple people to verify what law enforcement also apparently believes the geofencing coordinates show. After the debacle involving the identity of Purdue Professor, the defense has no faith at all that the prosecution will produce evidence such as geofencing analysis as required under Local Rule 08 CR 00018. As detailed in the Franks Memorandum filed September 18, 2023, as well as the defendant's additional Franks notice filed October 3, 2023, since August 10, 2023, the defense had asked the prosecutor to identify the Purdue professor whose findings thwarted investigative efforts to look into Odinism as being involved in the murders. And then he Purdue's professor whose findings thwarted investigative efforts to look into Odinism. What do you mean? Hey, thank you, Mevin. Poor version of very... No, that's absolutely awesome. Very generous. Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody. As detailed in the Franks Memorandum filed September 18, 2023, as well as the defendant's additional Franks motion filed since October 10th, the defense has asked the prosecutors to identify the... Okay, we already did that one. According to Sergeant Jerry Holman, the Purdue professor had reviewed the arrangement of certain sticks left at the crime scene and concluded that the sticks found on the girls at the crime scene, according to Holman, did not represent Odinism or any type of cult worshipping or any type of group that would have committed the crime. Holman, deposition, page 63. However, after his deposition, the defense sought the identity of this Purdue professor who altered the way that the case was investigated. No one from the prosecution or law enforcement claimed... I gotta get a drink of water. Jesus. Allergies coming in. However, after his deposition, the defense sought the identity of this Purdue professor who altered the way that the case was investigated. No one from the prosecution or law enforcement claimed that they could remember this Purdue professor's name. After the defense made several requests from the prosecutor to identify the Purdue professor for purposes of conducting a deposition, the prosecutor sent an email to the defense on September 6th. So again, this is right before. September 6th is when I was in Moscow, Idaho. That read, as stated before, we are trying to identify the Purdue professor. I swear I heard Grace sign off. Well, I did sign off earlier, but I came back on because I forgot the main document that I was meant to read. I ran out of stuff to talk about. Plus, the show was dead as a doornail, so it was like, oh boy, we're not really talking about anything. And however, after his deposition, the defense sought the identity of this Purdue professor. No one from the prosecution or law enforcement claimed that they could remember this Purdue professor's name. After the defense made several requests from the prosecutor to identify the Purdue professor for purposes of conducting a deposition, the prosecutor sent an email to the defense on September 6, 2023 that read, as stated before, we are trying to identify the Purdue professor, but no luck yet. Detective Holman has reached out to the FBI and Purdue and has not gotten a response yet. We will continue our endeavors, but may not be able to identify him or her. Hey, thanks, Dina. Allergy reading. Yeah, there you go. This response from the prosecutor seemed utterly preposterous. It had been nearly a month since the defense first made its request for the prosecutor to identify the Purdue professor at the state police with all the resources at its disposal claims that it was unable to identify the Purdue professor, even indicating that they may not ever be able to identify the Purdue professor. The prosecutor's email seemed implausible. I mean, that does. I mean, that was one of the things that I thought, that's kind of... There's no really a great explanation for that one. The mere identity of the Purdue professor is considered discovery that should have been turned over to the defense. His name and reports should have been provided to the defense. See, here's what probably happened, though. They already determined that Odinism had nothing to do with it, even though there was these people that said, yeah, man, it looks like Odin stuff. They looked into these people and found nothing. Right? So then, when the defense started going, ooh, let's go that route, they're like, oh, crap, we have to go through. And they really just are not quick about it because it's like, oh, we see where they're going to go now. And now this little sort of backhanded remark probably by a professor saying, boy, that sure looks like Odinist, because he wanted to be cool. Because they probably went in there and said, hey, professor, do you think this looks like Odinism? Because, we have these guys we're looking at that are into Odinism. And there's a crime that happened. Is it possible that these are... And he was like, yeah, man, this is great. And now it's just turned into a nightmare. Let's see. The prosecutor emailed seemed implausible. The mere identity of the Purdue professor is considered discovery that should have been turned over to the defense. His name and reports should have been provided to the defense no later than December 14, 2022, according to local rule. Yet, on September 6, 2023, the prosecutor told the defense that Jerry Holman and the vast resources of the Indiana State Police could not figure out who this professor was, nor did the prosecutor turn over any of the Purdue professor's reports. However, since getting back on the case, the defense has learned that Jerry Holman did in fact learn the identity of the Purdue professor, Jeffrey Turco, on August 12, 2023, through the Purdue, here, let's see, on Google. Let's see what it says. College of Liberal Arts at Purdue. There he is. Religious Studies, Medieval and Renaissance Studies, Comparative Literature, German and Medieval Literature. Well, there he is. Okay, so he exists. He's a guy. He's a person out there, everybody. Here we go. However, since getting back on the case, the defense has learned that Jerry Holman did in fact learn the identity of the Purdue professor, Jeffrey Turco, on August 12, 2023, through the Purdue Police Department. And Turco's identity was confirmed a few days later by other law enforcement. Holman even had possession of Turco's report, which contradicted Holman's August 10, 2023 sworn testimony during this same time frame. The information contained in paragraph 55 above, directly from Jerry Holman's own report, prepared September 22, 2023. Holman's report was not made available to the defense until February of 2024. Holman's September 22, 2023 report exposed the following concerning the state of Indiana's intentional violation of the discovery order due to their attempt to hide the identity of an exculpatory witness. Yeah, except he was a witness and they investigated the people and found nothing, so they didn't arrest any of them. Therefore, what the professor said is irrelevant. It just doesn't mean anything at that point. During the month of August 2023, the defense made multiple requests for the state of Indiana to identify the Purdue professor who, according to Jerry Holman and Tony Liggett, altered the way the case was investigated. By mid-August 2023, that point there, if it's not, there's no great rebuttal for it, that they said, oh yeah, when he told us it wasn't connected at all, we altered our investigation and quit looking into the Odinism people. And if that's not true, they looked into the Odin people and they didn't find a connection, though. You don't think they wanted to make an arrest in this case? Hey, welcome, Le Sleuth. By mid-August 2023, Holman knew the identity of the Purdue professor, yet throughout all of August and September, MacLeod told the defense on multiple occasions that Holman and/or law enforcement could not figure out the identity of the Purdue professor. MacLeod's September 6, 2023 email to the defense detailing Holman's inability to identify a Purdue professor was clearly not true. They keep repeating stuff over and over again. I bet whoever wrote this segment here wrote the one single solitary man acting alone with dexterity. After the filing of the Franks Memorandum on September 18, 2023, Jerry Holman was forced to interview the Purdue professor before the professor learned that he was missing. Holman interviewed the Purdue professor the very next day on September 19, 2023. Holman's September 22, 2023 report memorialized his meeting with Turco is filled with multiple falsehoods and mischaracterizations concerning his conversation with Turco. In what appears to be an attempt to water down Turco's actual opinion that it was given that someone was trying to replicate. So this is what Turco said. It was given that someone was trying to replicate a Germanic runic script. How can you say that? God. Holman memorialized Turco's conclusions as inconclusive. But it's not. They're just branches, you guys. Well, you don't know, Gray, because you're not an expert in this field. So therefore, give me a break. Despite how Holman drafted his report, Turco's conclusions were not inconclusive whatsoever. Turco was clear that his opinion and that of a Harvard expert, the sticks found at the scene were an attempt to replicate a Germanic rune script. Which one? What do you have them written down? Or the only thing that Turco could not say for certain was the intended meaning of the person who left the runic script at the crime scene. Script? Oh my God. Holman also attempted to deceive those reading his report when Holman wrote in his report that Turco stated that no evidence or research indicated that those involved in Odinism practices ritualism, human sacrifices. Holman chose not to include Turco's actual words that the stick configuration were pretty clearly runic, and that he, Turco, could certainly imagine that this was somebody's idea, that when you do human sacrifices, you carve runes. Well, there wasn't anything carved. There are some poetic sources that would sort of support that idea, that somebody might have come across that scenario. Seem entirely plausible to me, Turco. Tape statement 15 to 1550. Whereas Turco told Holman to his face that the people who placed these sticks on the girls clearly were attempting to create runes, and that it was entirely plausible. That's just such a ridiculous thing. If he really said it's clear, then he's an idiot. Okay. Well, he's a professor, Gray. What do you know about runes? Not a damn thing. But I can tell you that there's no way you can determine that somebody was trying to create a rune there. To me, it looks like somebody put up some branch on one part of the body, both of them, and then laid a stick across and was trying to build sort of a covering. Well, I'm just trying to get... I didn't see him spell it wrong. I'm just going over this document right here. We're just trying to get over this part here, if that's okay. He wants to get paid as an expert, period. Yeah, that's what I think too, Cindy. Yeah. Now he's probably going, God, did I really say that shit? Whew. Wow. Holman certainly understood that on August 10th, 2023. He, Holman, did not tell the truth under oath at his deposition concerning the findings of the Purdue Professor. But look at that. There's Fig Sauls himself right there in the chat, you guys. But yeah, we read that part earlier where they just kept mentioning your name over and over again. The same shit that they put in the other document. Holman certainly understood that on August 10th, 2023, he, Holman, did not tell the truth under oath at his deposition concerning the findings of the Purdue Professor, then tried to hide the identity of the Purdue Professor while Holman was attempting to hide the identity of the Purdue Professor. Man, this sounds just like those documents. The one man acting alone. What Holman did not account for was that the Franks memorandum would be filed on September 18, 2023, and the Franks memo would call out Holman and MacLeod for claiming that they could not figure out the identity of the Purdue Professor. Furthermore, MacLeod never once contacted. So whoever wrote this segment here wrote the one single solitary man acting alone. Hey, look at that. Somebody named Nope. Nope. Got a membership. Thanks, Lisa L. Furthermore, McLeod has still never explained to the defense why he, McLeod, has sent an email on September 6, 2023, claiming that the identity of the Purdue professor was still unknown when it was later revealed that Holman had known of the identity of the Purdue professor several weeks earlier. Additionally, McLeod never turned over the Purdue report until receiving an email from the defense requesting that he turn over the report. McLeod finally turned over the Purdue report on October 4th, 2023 at 9:43 p.m. via email nearly 10 months after he was required to do so under local rules and well over a month after Holman had received the report in mid-August 2023. Let's see. The Purdue report that the prosecutor finally turned over to the defense further exposed the lack of veracity of Liggett and Holman's August 2023 deposition testimony, which further explained why Holman tried to hide the identity of the Purdue professor and the contents of his 2017 report. In addition to those discovery violations already identified, the state of Indiana has also failed to produce other evidence that the defense had to either pursue on its own or make a specific request from the prosecution. Some of this evidence includes, but is not limited to, the following. Oh, by the way, we got the time on the full length of the bridge shot. That was 2:05. That showed up in one of these. The fake crime scene image found on Brad Holder's Facebook page. The defense had to travel to Georgia to retrieve a copy of that image. To this day, the state of Indiana has not turned over a copy of said faked crime scene image, while having to admit in deposition testimony that it is real and was found on Brad Holder's Facebook page within weeks of the murders. I'd like to see that one. Video of a ritual in Fort Wayne involving Brad Holder and Patrick Westfall, in which Westfall can be seen marking a tree using his hand as a similar height of that tree as the F was found on the tree at the crime scene. After finding references to that ritualistic video in an email from Detective Greg Ferenczi to Tony Liggett, the defense had to ask for the video as the prosecution had not yet turned the video over to defense. The video was finally received on or about September 8, 2023, at about 10 months after the prosecution was required to turn it over to defense. Video of Elvis interviewed was not turned over until September 8th. Video of Johnny Messer interview was not turned over until September 8th. Video of Rod Abrams interview was not turned over until September 8th. Video of Ned Smith interview was not turned over until September 8th. These attempts at concealing evidence at the hands of Holman and the prosecution detailed in the motion provides the underpinnings to support the defense position that law enforcement and the prosecution continue to hide evidence from the defense and to do so without care or concern of any consequences from this court. The defense recently filed its motion for early trial for several reasons, including concern for their client's safety and mental and physical health. The biggest concern that the defense has concerning the early trial request is the prosecution continued violation of the discovery rules. Okay, they're just trying to this trial isn't going to happen in May, you guys. I'd be shocked. I mean, for a defense team that wants a quick trial, they sure as hell are putting out a lot of motions and things that are going to delay, and they're going to say, Judge, we just can't do it. We'd like a quick trial, but because of the actions of the state, we just don't feel we can be ready here. Right? That's what's going to happen. Let's see. The defense would therefore request the court to compel the state of Indiana and law enforcement to turn over all relevant evidence in its possession. Again, as the defense does not have the luxury of knowing what is in the state's possession, the defense can only specifically request discovery that the defense believe exists based upon common sense understanding of the evidence that they currently have in their possession. And the evidence that should exist is an extension of the evidence that the defense has already received. The defense is requesting that the court to compel the state of Indiana to turn over the defense by no later than Monday, March 18, 2024, all evidence that it may have in its possession, but has failed to turn over, including the following: all reports that detail how certain videos that should have been found on a hard drive labeled Delphi DVR Original were reportedly deleted between February 13th and February 20th, 2017, including deleted video-taped interview of Brad Holder and Patrick Westfall. This would include any reports that detail how the erased videos were discovered, what attempts were made to retrieve the erased videos, an explanation for how the deleted videos were erased, and any attempts to contact the subjects of the erased interviews for a re-interview. Well, why don't you interview them now? You ever thought of that? All reports that detail how certain audio is missing in certain videos found on a hard drive labeled Delphi DVR Original, in which the video is present but the audio is not, the defense would further request all reports that detail why there is not audio, what efforts have been made to retrieve the audio, and any attempts at recreating the audio by re-interviewing those seen but not heard on the video. The identity of all the persons whose interviews were erased as detailed in paragraph 69A above, and also the identity of all persons who are viewed on all video in which there is no audio as detailed in paragraph 69B. Wow. Similarly, the state of Indiana provided hard drive, Delphi DVR Drive 1, expert, in which the state of Indiana claims that there is no detectable audio on the original drive from which the duplicate was made. The defense requests the court to compel the state of Indiana to identify all persons viewed on on this hard drive in which no audio is available, as well as synopsis of what was said on the missing audio. I mean, this stuff right here, all this stuff, would take forever. See, they're just like investigating. You know, they probably held on to all this stuff for tactical reasons. It's just ridiculous. Jesus. All of Derek German's law enforcement interviews, including video, audio, and or notes, reports memorializing any law enforcement interview if he was never interviewed. Let's see, let me go to on I've missed this part here. On hard drive Delphi DVR Drive 1 export, it appears that a sketch artist met with a lady and then sketched out an image of a male. The defense has never seen this sketch, nor has the prosecutor produced this sketch to the defense. The defense requests the name of the female who appears to provide the information that resulted in the sketch, as well as all documents of the sketch artist that the defense has been seen other sketch artists produce in other sketches, and the substance of the conversation between the sketch artist and the lady providing the information, and all law enforcement reports detailing why law enforcement asked this witness to provide information for a sketch artist. Furthermore, the defense requests the court to compel the state of Indiana to produce the sketch itself. So I guess there's a third sketch out there. For purpose of establishing a timeline, all of Kelsey German's phone dumps of all phones attributed to Kelsey, you're not even spelling your name right, you idiots. If her phone was never collected, the defense would request confirmation of this fact. Furthermore, every law enforcement interview of Kelsey German, with an I, no EY, including video, audio, and or notes, reports memorializing any law enforcement interviews. If she was never interviewed, the defense would ask for confirmation of that fact. We want all of Cody Patty's phone dumps of all phone attributable to Cody Patty. If his phone was never collected, the defense would request confirmation of this fact. Furthermore, of every law enforcement interview of Cody Patty, including video, audio, and notes, reports memorializing any law enforcement interviews. If he was never interviewed, the defense would ask for confirmation of that fact. There are 2 images that exist, but which the state of Indiana has not turned over to the defense. These images can be found on the internet, which at least one of those images seemingly adopted by law enforcement as being legitimate, as it has been utilized by law enforcement in various media appearances, including a 2019 press conference. We are talking about the photo of Abby Williams walking on the bridge, purportedly taken at 2:07. Yeah, right. Okay. Now, on February 13th, 2017, attributable to being sent via Snapchat from Liberty German's phone. Also an image of the Monon High Bridge, purportedly taken at 2:05 p.m., also attributable to being sent via Snapchat from Liberty German's phone. Related to those items, the defense would ask the court to compel the state of Indiana for the following that so far has not been produced. So what's the problem up here? There are 2 images that exist, but which the state of Indiana has not turned over to the defense. Okay, so they don't have those 2. I mean, what are you going to do with them? I mean, are you going to turn them into the same shit show that all your little brethren that gave you all the Odin crap did with them? One of your clowns saw the grain of wood as a face on the bridge. I'm not making that up. Take a look, there's somebody down there. Interviews or reports of Kyle Smith or anyone else that received either or both images taken on the bridge, purportedly at 2:05 and 2:07, purportedly from Liberty Snapchat. All report, analysis, and documentation detailing any information about the images purportedly taken at 2:05 p.m. and 2:07 and sent out via Snapchat. All reports, documentation, and analysis, one man acting alone with dexterity, Snapchat, or any law enforcement agencies dealing with the data confirming when those images were taken, where they were taken, and how they were distributed, including all reports related to the data and metadata. Any analysis related to those images that has been conducted by any law enforcement agencies or by any person or government or private entity that has worked with law enforcement. If the state of Indiana does not believe that the image of Abby walking on the bridge at 2:07 and the bridge taken at 2:05 p.m. are discoverable because the state of Indiana does not claim those images are relevant or reliable, then the defense requests confirmation of the same. All reports and or documents, including phone dumps from any phone or electronic device that was believed to be possibly be a phone or electronic device of either victim and used near the Monon High Bridge or in any area that was geofenced near the Monon High Bridge and was identified as a victim phone that is different than the phone found at the crime scene. All emails between Professor Turco and any law enforcement officer from 2017 to present. All reports, documentation, notes, or any analysis of geofencing data related to this case. The identity of the person or person, presumably law enforcement, that labeled the geofencing data, including labeling a second phone as geofence victim. That was not the phone belonging to Liberty German. The identity of geofence victim from a phone that does not belong to Liberty German. The identity of the person or person, presumably law enforcement, that reduced the geofencing coordinates of multiple phones on February 13th, 2017 between 12:39 and 5:49:23 to a map tracking the various phones on that date between those times. All interviews, reports, documents, or memorialization of interviews of anyone whose phone was found through geofencing in or around the crime scene at the time law enforcement is claiming that the murders took place the afternoon of February 13, 2017. All reports of all leaks, investigations not related to the Mitch Westerman leak investigation, including any reports made by Nick MacLeod of content providers reaching out to him, claiming they were in possession of a leaked. Well, but the thing is why do you want to know that? You're the one that leaked the information, okay? That they were in possession of leaked information, and which MacLeod then ordered to the content provider to delete the images. Okay, now you care about that? Because up above, you're still bitching and pretending that MacLeod's telling Fig Solves to delete everything, when you know he's referring to the freaking crime scene images. The defense further requests that the state of Indiana be sanctioned for the variety of discovery violations detailed in this document. Specifically, the defense requests that should any violations result in the need for a continuance of the early trial. Here we go. There it is, everybody. There we go. Specifically, the defense requests that should any violations result in the need for a continuance of the early trial in order to evaluate late discovery evidence, that the time be applied against the state of Indiana and not Richard Allen. What the hell does that even mean, man? Indiana's been ready to do this case. What time are you talking about? Wherefore, the accused moves this court can... Wherefore, the accused moves this court to compel the state of Indiana to provide all relevant evidence in its possession to the defense, including all specific requests made in paragraph 69 herein. All right. Man, well, we got the hell through that. That was crazy. Let me see if I can find that document. Let me try this one. All right, we're going to load this sucker up here. Maybe this one will be the one. Well, we got through it, you guys. I read that entire freaking document. All right. Now, let's see if this is the one. Let's see what we got. And sorry I missed it on the previous show. No, see, I don't think this is the right one either. Oh, maybe it is. Let's see. Maybe. Oh, yeah, this is it. So forget that. That doesn't even matter. I'm just going to move this over. Okay, so what's that look like? Yeah. So that's the pylon down here. Let's see what we have for the... that's not where we'd been, though. She would have been on platform... I don't know where she was standing. I think it would have been right on the side of the bridge. I guess I'm missing all the platforms on this. Oh, wait, you can see it from above. Let's see. All right, so this is where it would be. On that platform right there is where she was standing when she took a photograph. And let me see if I can find this really fast. Well, I don't even care if it's fast. Yeah, so this is one of her photographs right here. This is one of... That's one of the photographs from Cheyenne's phone on that bridge the same day. Right? I mean, so that's where this right here, just a little bit behind this, is where Libby's photograph of the whole bridge was taken. And it's actually the third platform where the picture of Abby was taken. But, you know, based on the type of camera. But look at the shadow down there, though. See that? See the shadow that goes off of the bridge and how it kind of, you know, it looks like you can see it right here. Like these are really symmetrical items. And see how it's like this? The shadow's coming, it's not straight like that. It kind of comes off the side there. So let's see what we have set on the clock. So we have I have it set, this is at 12:43. So let's just see what things look like. Let's go through this. The camera, I'm just going to set it up a little bit off to the side, you know, over here so we can just see it better. Maybe like that. All right. So you can see that, and then let's go to render, setup, scan line, single. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so that's totally off on the sun. That's because I don't have it set up right. That's what I was saying. It said 12 something. So let's go back to the here. So it says February 13th, 2017 at 12:43. Let's see what it looks like up in the air from where the sun is. Here, maybe move it over a little bit. Let me see what it looks like from up here. What does that do? Oh yeah, yeah. So see right there, you can see up there. See how the shadow's going way over there? Can you guys make that out? I know it's kind of small, but see that right there? There's the shadow. The rest of this is the bridge shadow. But you see how that's going way off that angle? So it's not right, okay? Just go back to that one, the photograph here. So I don't know where the shadow of the bridge is. It looks like it's over there. See that? There's the shadow of the bridge. It's going way over there. So now let's get the correct time here. So if you look up here, I'm going to go up in the sky and you can see what angle the sun. That's the sun, this little blue line right here. Way up here, there's the actual sun. Sunlight. So if I go here, let me get the compass, select the compass, and then, or daylight I mean, and then over here, I'm going to change it now to 2, so it's going to be 14:07. So now this will be the time that Abby and Libby were on the bridge. Now look at the angle now. It's starting to move over where it's starting to straighten out a little bit. And you could actually take that character, I think. Let's see, can I move the whole character? And you could put the character on the bridge as if it was Abby. And so let's try it. Let's do this. Let's just put this character on the bridge as if it was Abby and move this back a little bit. So we're just going to do that. This is going to be the 207 shot right here. Let's get it closer. Right there. I'm not sure why it's so... I'm just showing you the lighting. So this is where she was. She was on... Well, there's a better example, right? Oh, crap. Let me move this back over here for that. I see I already have a camera on platform 3. And then I'm going to grab the character again. I'm going to move this character about where Abby would have been standing. And then we'll look through this camera, and there it is. So just pretend, I guess I could try to move him up a little bit so he's standing. Just pretend that's Abby right there. And then we'll pull out the photograph of Abby on the bridge, this one. Now see that? Look at how the angle of the light right there, the shadow on the side here. See how her left foot is on this railroad tie, but it actually looks like it goes a little bit behind her and then up onto the side rail there. So let's see how accurate this is in this shot right here. So here we go. What's it gonna do? What's it gonna do? What's it gonna do? And this is all set up correctly. North-south oriented map with the bridge. I built a little bridge to put on there. Let's see what the shadow does. Here we go. Got my, listen to that computer just working right there. Now I can see it. I can see it right there. The shadow's coming into play. That's exactly the same. See that? Look at it right there. That's awesome. Man, that is just so perfect. It's ridiculous, almost. See how he's standing on this one, and then it actually goes to the one behind it and then up? See that? It's crazy. And look at this. Boom. Right there. Can I get a boom? Yeah, so see that? That's exactly what Abby's shadow's doing right here. Look at that. Just look at that right there. That's insane. So that's a 207, right? Yeah. Alright, so let me, I'm going to save this really quick. Cancel the rest of the rendering there. Now we're looking back at that camera shot, which is this one. Okay? So what we could probably do here, I don't know if I can... You know what I'd like to do is, maybe I'll try to make this camera in the scene match that a little bit. So that means it's going to be rotating around. And don't say, oh great, no, you got the wrong. I can figure stuff out, right? It's the other way. Yep. See. Thanks, Nikki Zubs. Wasn't that definitely worth one there? You guys get to see real shit in here. This is how you do it. Alright, I'm going to make him go up in the air a little bit more. This camera slightly. Maybe rotate it a little bit more. And that's probably pretty close to, you know, generally. So see the shadow down there? How it's coming, it's going off that direction. So now let's go up in the air here. And now you can still see the camera. It's going to keep going around like this as we continue. So you go to daylight and then go over here. So let's just say now that this is 1320 or something. Let's just say 1320, right? That's right around the time. That's not 13, I mean 1520 is what I meant to do. So 1520, that would be 320. And that's right around the time that they said there was people moving around. There was people moving around, right? Watch this. Here we go. And you can look at that. You can see it in there. I don't know if you can see it, but it's not dark, but it's right there. It comes off, starting right there, and comes out, and then it continues on just like that. Look how close that is to this shot right here. Just a second. See that? It comes right off and goes like that. So that's 320. Let's do, how about like 330. See how close that is. And hit the render again, and see, right there. See? We're in the zone of the time that they heard the pinging. So it's going to be Cheyenne, and she had 2 other friends out there, and they all probably had their phones on, and they're walking around. All right? So this is it. Well, I did this before Naomi Irion. That's why I thought of doing that. But this program is really amazing for being able to figure out time of day on a image that is lacking any sort of time code on it, and you know the exact location. You can figure out the time of day by using this program. All right. Well, there you go. There you have it, everybody. We got through another show. Today I've been doing live streams for, let's see, the earlier show was an hour and a half. This one's an hour and 53 minutes. We didn't really even make a goal, if you can believe that, if you add the 2 shows together in almost 4 hours. And then we did a show earlier in the day. That's sad. That's sad. But anyways, it's better than absolutely nothing. We made it to, I think we made it to, if you add the 2 shows together, 178. Okay, which is, like 70% or something. Yeah, we did better than we would have done. Cindy, you definitely got people to help it out a little bit. That's right. Yeah. So today was a busy day. I did a live stream, Court TV, and then 2 other streams. And it was one of our worst days that we've had in this month so far, which is crazy when you work that hard, but hey, whatever. The music, let's see. Cindy, the sun would have been in their face walking down the bridge, casting a shadow behind them. Yeah, well, we already know, like when you look at the bridge guy, so look at the bridge guy here. I'm not sure what you guys are talking about the sun. I know exactly what everything's doing in this. I've studied it 1,000 times. So, anyways, you look at the video of this guy. Watch. See the sun on his face? How it's on the right, on the left side? That's exactly the same look that Abby has in her shot at 207. So the sun is kind of off to their right, slightly in their face. Okay? It's slightly off to the right. Abby had the exact same shot, and the shadows are very similar here. And I remember looking at all this and thinking, okay. And I think I remember, I don't remember, but I think I was really close one time trying to figure out his shadows, because you can kind of see them there, and the timing of them. Because it was really similar. It was like right after. So, there you go. There you go. I guess we could do one. I think let me see if I have one more camera on the bridge here. I mean, I guess we could take this, move it all the way to the end here, and then, well, actually, let me put that back and then make a new camera. That way I can keep the good one there. And Libby was standing right off the end of the bridge here, down low like this. And then you turn the camera here, and that's not right. It's kind of like down. Let's see what that looks like. No, it's off. That's too far. That's pretty good though, but it's off to the right. It has to be, the camera's about right there, and that's where Libby's standing. So if you look at that shot. I mean, that's so good. I mean, I just know because I've done this. So you look at right there, and then we'll take the human again, and let's move the copy of the human down. Oh crap, you can't do it that way. I guess I'll have to move the, oh yeah, there's all kinds of crap. So I'll just have to move him down to, and look at, there's platform 5. He's actually past that. He's about right here in the shot. Isn't that cool to actually have all this? Oh, what do you, oh, you can't see it. Hold on. Let me move over. All right, so see, I just moved the character down, if you look from the top, see this? There's platform 5 right here, or 6 actually. So he's just past platform 6, and he's near this side railing, about right there. And so this camera should look pretty good. Yeah, it's really close to that. That's exactly very similar to the shot, and Abby's still right here. So, I mean, I guess I could, let's just see if I can, how far down do I have that? Maybe it's a little bit like that. All right, that looks better. So here we go. Let's hit the render button and see what happens. You might not be able to see anything, but watch the shadow on his face. That's exactly what it looks like. See that? And see the shadow that goes across on the ground right there? It's really thin. Well, you can't see it. Let me see if I zoom in. See right there, that little darker line? And if we're going like that, and if we go to the, and it just depends if he's not perfectly straight walking down. So let's go to the shot of the, the video. So I think he's turned slightly to the left. So see that? I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, he's facing more, turning towards the camera. So I think if we took him and rotated him slightly, let's go to the human again and just slightly turn him like that, and then render it. What does that look like? I don't know. It's hard to... Oh, wait. Hold on a second. I haven't changed the time. Let me get him back. Hold on. I didn't change the time. That's why it doesn't quite look right there. Let me go back up. I'm just going to have him slightly turned, maybe about like that. And then let's get to the daylight time. Go over here. Now we're going to make this 2:13. Watch this. It's actually, hold on. 2 is 14, and then the minutes is 13 right there. All right, so that's 2:13. This should be the exact shot of the bridge guy. And here we go. Oh yeah, boom. Absolutely nailed. And you can't see it because I have to switch screens again. Oh shit. Anyways, watch this when I zoom in here. See how it takes up more of the left side of his face on that one? See that? It's like it comes over and most of the nose is visible and then dark on the other side, right? So now if we go to the Delphi video of the killer, look at that. Here, I'm going to do a screen grab of that. Put it over here. That's hard to do it. But anyways, wait, no, here we go. Look at that. Look how perfectly the lighting... Oh, you can't see it. Again, I gotta switch it back. God, it's hard to remember that. It's crazy. Anyways, look at that right there. See, just look at the sunlight and the shading, how it's dark on the left side and really bright on the right side, and it goes right to the nose and then over. And then even look at the shadows on the leg, for God's sakes. Look at those things. Almost right in the middle. You gotta admit, that's pretty crazy, right? I mean, that's... Yeah. All right, well, there you go. Okay, a little extra bonus material at the end there. I'm going to save this. I like this one. I might have to do a video on this. I think it'd be awesome. All right. Anyways, thank you guys for being here tonight. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. Thanks Cheryl, Cindy J, Wise Child, Sophie H, Michelle H, Cindy J, Mecca23, Jessica Schubach, Georgina Stoliker, Peter Kim, Christian, Kathleen Canick, Mevin, Dina, LaSleuth, the new member, Lisa L, Up All Night. Lisa L gifted a membership too, and then Nikki Zubs. There you go. All right. Well, thanks everybody. Appreciate it. Nope. There's only one wheel a night, and if it doesn't get to the goal, there's no wheel. All right. That's just how it works. It's unfortunate, but that's how it works. But anyways, I thought that was pretty cool, don't you think, you guys? You got to admit, that was pretty cool. Well, Cindy, just remind me. Maybe I'll throw one in just for you, okay? That's what I'll do. What I'll do is I'll start the wheel over, but we'll just... Yeah. Anyways, I mean, I think this kind of stuff here is what makes us a little different than other people. It's we, a different level, right? We don't get to use it all that often, but it's really... I think it's just awesome. I mean, it's so cool to be able to just see, like, look at that. The shadows are exactly correct there. So, anyways, thank you guys for being here. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for all your support and encouragement and everything. The get on Court TV again, etc., etc., etc. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And, as I always say, until next time, everybody, be safe out there. It wouldn't click on the
I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person
I want the hearing.
that is a
Crime dissector, a threat projector, I'm a certified human lie detector. I'm gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector
is my nectar. Professor Grant is gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, reconnector. Fool deflector, interceptor. And I'm more than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, just remember I've a temper fucking
injection. I have no agenda, I'm a bartender, and I'll serve it to you straight without a blender.
And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender.
Hey everybody, we're at 123,851. Isn't that amazing, everybody? Gee.
Yeah, that's fantastic, Mary Lou. Okay. All right, yep, we'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow we'll reach the magical 124. At some point during the day, you just never know. All right, everybody. See you tomorrow. Thank you for being here, and be safe out there.